Ever wish you could just ditch the busy work,
Mm.
and just focus on the stuff you love to do? Well, what if AI could actually help with that?
Oh, it's a fascinating idea, isn't it? Like that tech could actually change the way we work, not just automate tasks away.
Right. And this Harvard Business School study,
Mhm.
published just last month, really digs into this.
Oh.
They look at how a generative AI tool, think ChatGPT, but for code, impacts software developers.
Yeah, which is super relevant now with software being such a huge part of, well, almost every industry.
Totally. The study zeroes in on GitHub.
Okay.
It's basically the platform for open source software development, where the code is out there for anyone to use. And get this, 96% of companies rely on open source code.
That's mind-blowing. It shows how interconnected the software world really is.
Right. So GitHub rolls out this AI tool called Co-Pilot. They gave it free to devs working on the most popular projects, which is brilliant because...
It created a natural experiment. Researchers could compare those with Copilot to those without and see how their behavior changed.
Okay, so let's unpack this Copilot thing. What exactly does it do?
Imagine having an AI assistant who's like a coding whiz right there with you. You know it suggests the next lines of code, helps solve problems faster. Basically, it turbocharges your coding.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Did it actually make a difference, though? Did
Yeah.
developers get more done?
Oh, yeah. The results were pretty clear. Developers using Copilot spent way more time actually coding and less time on what we might call project management stuff. Dealing with issues, reviewing other people's code off.
So they got to spend more time on the creative fun part of the job, the actual building.
Exactly. They were freed up to focus on what they loved. And here's where things get really interesting. The study found two major shifts in how developers worked when using Copilot.
Okay, lay it on me. What were the shifts?
First, they became way more autonomous. They were able to work independently, less reliant on others for help.
Which makes sense if the AI is already lending a hand, right?
Right. And the second shift was an increase in exploration. Developers felt more comfortable trying out new programming languages and tackling different kinds of projects.
So instead of sticking to their comfort zone, they were branching out, learning new stuff.
Exactly. And that's a key finding. It means AI tools like this could not only boost productivity, but also help people learn and grow professionally.
That's amazing. But wait, there's more, right? This study found something else, a kind of twist to the whole thing.
Absolutely. The impact of Copilot wasn't the same for everyone.
What do you mean?
Well, it turned out that developers who were initially rated as having less experience or influence on the platform, they saw the biggest positive impact from using Copilot.
Whoa. So it was like the AI was leveling the playing field, helping those who maybe needed it the most.
That's exactly it. This suggests that AI could have a huge role in closing skill gaps and making the tech world more inclusive.
This is all so fascinating, but I'm curious, though. The study was focused on software developers, but do the researchers think these findings could apply more broadly to other fields?
They absolutely do. They believe these results extend to the entire knowledge economy, and that's what we'll explore in the next part of our deep dive. What's fascinating here is that the researchers actually broke down, these categories of coding and project management even further, like looking at the specific actions developers were taking.
Okay, so let's dive deeper then. What did they find?
So for coding, the biggest increases were things like own.
So it supports that idea of Copilot making them more autonomous.
Exactly. And on the flip side, things like collaborating on code and suggesting changes to others' projects, those decreased with Copilot, which usually involve a lot of back and forth with other people.
Interesting. So it seems like Copilot was making the whole coding process more streamlined, less reliant on constant collaboration.
Precisely. Now, the project management side is where things get a bit more nuanced. The researchers found that Copilot led to developers working with fewer people overall.
So smaller teams, more solo missions.
Exactly. Which again points to that increased autonomy. It seems Copilot helped developers handle tasks that might have needed input from a whole bunch of people before.
Makes sense. If the AI can help you solve problems or answer questions on your own, you're less likely to need to ask colleagues for help.
Right. And the shift towards more independent work could be a huge benefit for developers who are feeling overwhelmed or burnt out.
It's like Copilot is giving them some breathing room, letting them focus on the stuff they enjoy most.
Exactly. Now, remember that idea of exploration we talked about earlier? The study looked at that too.
Oh yeah, I'm super curious about this. How do they even measure exploration in this context?
Well, they tracked whether developers started working on new projects they hadn't touched before, and if they were trying out new programming languages.
So did Copilot actually make a difference there? Did it make people more adventurous?
It did. Developers with Copilot were much more likely to explore new projects and experiment with new programming languages.
Wow, that's really cool. It suggests that Copilot wasn't just making them better coders, it was making them more curious ones too.
This finding is super exciting because it hints at AI's potential to encourage real innovation and creativity. Imagine if people are more willing to try new tools and techniques.
Yeah, it could lead to the development of some truly groundbreaking new software.
Exactly. And this goes way beyond just software, you know? It makes you wonder how AI could be used to accelerate progress in all sorts of fields.
It's like giving everyone a boost of confidence and curiosity at the same time, empowering them to push the boundaries of what's possible.
That's a great way to put it. Now, the study also uncovered this really fascinating finding about the financial implications of all this exploration.
Oh, tell me more. This sounds juicy.
They found that developers who were using Copilot were more likely to try out programming languages that on average lead to higher salaries.
So not only were they expanding their skill set, they were potentially boosting their earning potential too.
Exactly. The researchers actually calculated that this shift towards higher paying languages could lead to a significant AI dividend for developers.
That's incredible. It's like Copilot is improving their work life and potentially their bank accounts at the same time.
It really highlights how AI could create real, tangible economic benefits for people.
This is all so fascinating. But I want to circle back to something you mentioned before about Copilot's impact varying based on a developer's initial experience level.
Ah, yes. The study found that Copilot had the biggest positive impact on those who were initially considered less experienced or influential.
Can you break that down for me? What exactly do they mean by less experienced in this case?
Well, they used a few different things to measure this. Things like how long the developer had been on the platform, how much influence they had in the open source community, and their number of followers.
So it's not just about raw coding skills, but more about their overall standing in the developer world.
Exactly. And the fascinating part is that Copilot seemed to be closing the gap between developers with different levels of experience.
Like it was leveling the playing field, so to speak.
Precisely. Developers who might have been seen as less experienced were able to use Copilot to boost their productivity and make bigger contributions to projects.
That's really encouraging. It makes you think that AI tools like this could make the world of software development more accessible to a wider range of people.
Absolutely. And that has huge implications for diversity and inclusion in the tech industry. If AI can help break down barriers to entry, imagine the possibilities, we could see a much more diverse and representative group of developers out there.
That's a really important point. So overall, this study paints a pretty optimistic picture of AI's potential to change the way we work.
It does. It suggests that AI can empower workers, make us more productive, and even spark greater innovation.
Of course, it's important to remember that this is just one study, and we need more research to fully understand the long-term impacts of AI on the workforce.
Absolutely. But this study is a great starting point for that conversation.
It definitely gives us a lot to think about. But before we wrap up, I want to make sure we've hit all the key points. We've talked about Copilot's impact on coding and project management, the increase in autonomy and exploration, and even the potential financial benefits. Anything else we should highlight?
One important thing to remember is that all these findings are based on developers working on public open source projects. It's possible things might be different for developers working on private projects inside companies.
Right, so we don't necessarily know if these exact results would apply to every developer out there.
Exactly. And the study authors acknowledge this limitation.
They also mentioned that we don't have the complete picture of how developers were using Copilot. We know they were using it, but we don't know the specifics of how it fit into their workflow.
That's right. And that's an area where future research could provide some really valuable insights.
Okay. I think we've covered the essentials. This has been a fascinating deep dive. But before we move on to the final part, I want to take a moment and ask you, our listener, a question.
Yes, this is a crucial moment for reflection.
Think about your own work, even if it's not in software development. What are the tasks that you find most enjoyable? What are the areas where you'd like to explore and learn more?
And how might AI tools, maybe even something similar to Copilot, help you achieve those goals?
It's time to wrap up our discussion. We'll be right back after this. All right, we're back. And for this last part of our deep dive, let's zoom out a bit and talk about the bigger picture. What does this all mean? Not just for software developers, but for everyone.
This is where things get really interesting, right? Because even though this study was about coders, I think the findings have implications for anyone who works with their mind. anyone in the knowledge economy.
Totally. It makes you think about the future of work in a whole new way.
Right. We've already touched on some of the exciting stuff, like how AI can boost productivity and give people more control over their work.
But of course, there are also those red if questions,
Yeah.
those potential downsides people worry about.
For sure, like the idea that AI could lead to people losing their jobs.
Yeah, it's a valid concern, especially as AI gets more and more sophisticated.
Absolutely. But personally, I think it's more likely that AI will change how we work, not necessarily replace us altogether.
Like we saw with Co-Pilot. It wasn't taking over, it's helping developers do their jobs better, faster, more creatively.
Exactly. Think of AI as a tool. It can free us up from the boring, repetitive tasks, the stuff that maybe drains our energy.
Yeah.
Then we can focus on what humans are uniquely good at, things like creativity, critical thinking, solving complex problems.
Yes, that's stuff that AI can't replicate, at least not yet.
And as AI keeps evolving, I think we'll find even more ways for it to work alongside us, complementing our strengths, opening up new possibilities.
It's exciting to imagine what that could look like, but it's also important to remember, with any powerful tool, there's always a chance it could be misused.
100%. We have to be thoughtful about how we develop and use AI, making sure it benefits everyone.
Exactly. We need to have those open and honest conversations about the potential benefits and risks, and make sure everyone has a chance to learn and adapt in this new world of AI.
Couldn't agree more. The future of work is being shaped right now, and it's up to all of us to make sure it's a future where everyone can thrive.
This deep dive has really given us a lot to think about. We've gone from the nitty-gritty of how AI can impact software developers to these big, almost philosophical questions about what it means to work in the 21st century.
Yeah.
We've seen how AI can make us more productive, give us more control over our work, even spark innovation and creativity.
And we've talked about the potential challenges, too, the importance of using this technology responsibly and ethically.
At the end of the day, I truly believe AI has the potential to make our lives better, our work more meaningful.
But it's on us to make sure that happens. It's a future we need to build together.
Well said. And that brings us to the end of this deep dive. Thanks for joining us. Remember, the future is what we make it, so let's make it a good one.